I've got no other advice for anybody in the world except what you just said. But let me encourage you, like I did at the front of the show. After all these years of us coming in to Russell and getting to spend time with you and Angie and your daughters Briley and Brooklyn, your staff out there, man, you are leading well. You are taking care of your family. You're taking care of your people, your joy, your faith, your courage. It is all infectious, and all the things that you said, you don't just say it. You live like you are a blessed and lucky man. That is contagious. You are paying it forward. So keep doing what you're doing, my friend, and keep breathing life into that community out there in Russell, Kansas on KRSL.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Les. Happy Father's Day to you and all the dads out there. There's nothing better, than being a dad. It's one of the greatest honors you could ever get in your life. And enjoy this weekend.
Absolutely. Well, happy Father's Day, like Mike said, to all of you. LesNorman.com is the website. On Twitter at LNorman22. Send an email, les@lesnorman.com. For Mike McKenna, I'm Les Norman. Thanks for listening to Breaking the Norm.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning and welcome to Track Talk here on a Saturday morning. I'm Kirk Elliott at the Racing Boys Lucas Oil headquarters in Kansas City. Scott Traylor will be joining us here in just a moment. He is out in the Pacific Northwest getting ready for 2 big weekends of racing with the Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Car Dirt Series tonight and tomorrow night. Grays Harbor Raceway. It's the Fred Brown Field Classic. And then next weekend, the Dirt Cup at Skagit Speedway. Up north of Seattle at Skagit Speedway. That's a big, big event, so we'll be having the live video for those 2 big weekends out in and near Seattle, a place that Racing Boys didn't go to last year because of the pandemic, but Scott Traylor is there. In the anything different in the Pacific Northwest than it was when you were last there 2 years ago, Scott?
Well, it's a little bit warmer up here, Kirk, than it was the last time I came up here. We trucked across South Dakota, Montana. As we trucked across there, it was about 109 degrees. So I think I made the right call on not bringing the motorhome, as I saw many motorhomes laid down on the side of the road as we worked our way up here. So kind of glad I didn't bring it up. It would have been really taxing on it. And so we didn't bring it, brought the truck. We're up here. We're down the street in a hotel from Elma, Washington, to Grays Harbor, and we cannot wait to get underway. We typically average about 35, 38 cars at Grays Harbor. It's a good show. Can't wait to get there. It feels a little odd, though, Kirk, that we're going to Elma first instead of Skagit. Typically we go to Skagit first, get those 3 nights in, and then we move up to Elma. Or move south, I should say, to Elma. And this year it is the opposite. So it's going to be a little bit different.
And it's a Saturday-Sunday show at Grays Harbor Raceway. You kind of like that because it gave you an extra day to get set up after that long trip. And first of all, I am shocked that it was hotter in Montana than it was here in Kansas City. Montana, 110 degrees as you were trekking across there? Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 109. The highest we saw it get to was 109 degrees. But that's awful brutal, running down the road, 109 degrees. It's hard on equipment. Heck, it was hard on our pickup to come across there. Let's be fair. A lot of mountains, a lot of hills. And so we're rooming it in the old hotels.
Well, that's kind of – but you needed that motorhome to be rock solid for that speed week that faces you when you get back. So that's going to be.
Was that 9 or 10 races in 11 days?
That's the biggest speed week, I think, of the whole of anybody that puts on this year. I was looking at the schedule, And the number of dates that you got in that Speed Week tops all the other Speed Weeks, I think. So that's coming up. That starts on July 22nd at Riverside. And you only get about one night off for the next 10 days after that. So that motorhome better be in good shape.
Tip-top condition.
Yeah, so you didn't need to have that breakdown out there in the Pacific Northwest with that series of events facing you when you get back here.
No, we didn't need to deal with that. We need to get right back to work when we get back. And looks like I'm going to be flying back just before Belgrade. My cousin Mark passed away a couple weeks ago, and so I'm coming back for his celebration of life. And the girls are going to take care of the broadcast, and I'm going to come on back and do the right thing and visit my cousin Mark on his day of celebration. So we're going to do that. The girls are going to get in Belgrade. I'm going to come back home and be with my family, and then we'll take it from there.
That's coming up on the 9th and 10th of July, so that's a little ways away, so we'll look forward to that. They opened up a new racetrack in Tulsa last night, Scott. The new Tulsa Speedway opened up for the first time. And we have
a little rough.
Yep. Well, they get some growing pains first night. They'll work it out. They'll get it all fixed and ready to go. But
if anybody thought there wasn't going to be growing pains at that racetrack for the first few nights with new dirt, new surface, new everything, no.
They'll get it figured out.
It always happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was challenge. They had to come out and put some water on the racetrack after the first heat race. But
it seemed like it settled it down for a little bit once they did that.
The only bad spot with the dust seemed like it was in Turn 4. They were coming through Turn 4, and that's where they're kicking up the dust. But the rest of the racetrack didn't look that bad as far as dust was concerned. But they got to show in. I think the smartest move that they made was keeping the classes down. They had 3 classes total. They had 2 support classes along with the sprint cars. So just to kind of work through all that with as few classes as possible, I think was a smart move on their part. But they'll get it figured out. It's been a long time coming. They've been a while trying to get this track built and open, but they finally got it done last night. And I love the location of the racetrack. The configuration of the track looks good. So if they get the dirt worked out, and which they will, it's going to get better as they go.
Well, I hope they get it worked out because we're supposed to be there in about a month.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that things will be much better by that time. So, but anyway, good night for Danny Smith, who wins the feature event for the American Bank of Oklahoma Sooner region. They're going to be at 81 Speedway tonight.
There's a little bit, Kirk, there's a little bit of a controversy there. I don't know if you heard about that or not.
I have not. Fill us in.
Danny Smith won with a 2-barrel car.
No kidding.
He did.
Is that an advantage? Or does that matter?
200 less horsepower.
Well, that's what I was thinking. So what's the problem? What's the controversy?
Well, he didn't have an ASCS cylinder head on his car.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's breaking news.
Yeah. So last night, I don't know how the outcome worked out, but I do know that there was some discussion going on about what to do with the $5 car because he was running a 2-barrel motor. Now, listen, me personally, I think if you don't have a ASCS cylinder head on there and you're running an ASCS race, you get disqualified. Period. No second chance. You knew the rules going in there. You knew that you had to have an ASCS cylinder head. You know you got a chance to win. You know you're driving a 2-barrel car. You better have the ASCS stamped cylinder head on that car if you're going to do that. He didn't have that on there, and I think he should be disqualified.
So what's the penalty? Or have they determined that?
I haven't heard.
He may still be disqualified. But wouldn't they have done it last night if that were the case?
Well, I think what their original plans were to give Brandon first place points.
Brandon Anderson, who finished second.
Right.
Interesting.
So we'll have to see. I haven't heard the final results on that one yet, but I do know there was a little bit of a controversy there last night.
Well, the story was posted last night that Danny Smith had won the race, so maybe more news will be breaking here this morning. We'll keep tabs on that. They're supposed to be at 81 Speedway tonight. We're not able to do the live broadcast 81 because we're short a cameraman for tonight there. So, but anyway, we do have a second live broadcast in addition to the one that you got out there at Grays Harbor. The USAC Midwest Wingless Racing Association will be at Central Missouri Speedway tonight. We got the live broadcast of that event. They've got 5 different winners and 5 races so far, Scott, after Corey Schutte won at I-35 last Saturday night. So pretty competitive series this year. Wesley Smith got the points lead right now, but that event coming up down at Central Missouri Speedway. Hope everybody shows up to that event down there. But if you can't be there, we've got it live here on Racing Boys.
Yeah, we got a good night of action going on with the NWRA and the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour tonight and tomorrow night. So it's a couple good races coming up. So hopefully you'll join us. Now, don't forget, for the people that watch on Flow, no Flow this week or next week. So if you're planning on watching with your Flow membership, you will not be able to do so per our agreement with our friends over at MAV TV Plus. No Flow this weekend. So if you want to watch the race, any of the races on RacingBoys.tv, then you'll need to do it through us because Flow will not have the broadcast this weekend or next weekend. So
they'll be back at Belgrade, though, co-streaming.
Yeah.
Those
anytime MAV TV Plus is at the event, we will not be streaming with Flow. That was per our agreement with Flow Television and MAV TV.
So anyway, you got some choices tonight, and we hope you choose Racing Boys for tonight and tomorrow night out at Grays Harbor and the Midwest Wingless Racing Association, CMS, tonight as well. So that's the schedule of events we got coming up this weekend. Donnie Schatz wins his 300th career World of Outlaw feature last night at Dubuque Speedway.
Yeah, no, I watched it. Yeah, it was a pretty good race. I mean, listen, I don't know if Schatz was going to win that race or not because Reitzel had a pretty good car there as well. He led some laps.
He had a flat tire there, did he not? He and Gravel both had flat tires.
Both Gravel and Aaron Reitzel had tire problems. I think they had some rocks in the racetrack there, from what I was told.
I remember that old racetrack back in the day. It was, I don't think they ever ran sprint cars on it back years ago. Fairgrounds track up there in Dubuque, but it was a pretty stable Sunday night facility for many, many years at Dubuque Speedway. That track's been around a long time. But boy, I can't remember the Outlaws running at that racetrack ever till last
Kirk, there's only 3 drivers that have won over 300 races in the World of Outlaws. Can you name 3 of them?
Well, Steve Kinzer would be one, right?
577 wins.
Sammy?
394 wins.
And Donnie Schatz.
Donnie Schatz with
there
300.
You go. Pretty easy to guess those 3, right?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
20-time World of Outlaw champion.
How many times did you think Mark Kinzer won?
Mark Kinzer. Well, I would say less than 50, right?
No.
How many?
207, I think.
Is it 207? That Mark Kinzer. Yeah, I guess that would be right because when he was driving for Carl. 3-time Knoxville Nationals champion. So, but he quit early. He retired fairly early in a lot of people's minds. So, yeah, I guess that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was some pretty good racing on TV last night. We've been hanging out down at Henry's bowling alley, and we've kind of taken over his TVs down there. Henry is a big sprint car fan. He's a big fan of everybody that comes up here with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. He's friends with every driver, every team. And we've been going kind of down to his restaurant, taking over his TVs and watching on his big screen and everything else down there, watching the races this week. So it's been pretty fun.
Hey, good races. How about Knoxville last night? They had a barn burner of a pair of 360 races at Knoxville. Carson McCarl wins on the final lap of that makeup race last night. Austin McCarl won the other feature. And how about Dylan Westbrook, the winning at Knoxville last Saturday night? He's regular out on the Lucas Oil ASCS Tour, and we thought he was going to have a fast race car in that heat race last week. You and I were both watching that, and he powered his way to the win last week at Knoxville.
How about that?
Hey,
so the make. Sorry, Kirk. It's only 6 in the morning here. I'm sorry. Jamie Ball won the first.
Yeah,
game,
Jamie Ball
right?
won the first one. I'm sorry, my bad. Jamie Ball won the first race, and Carson McCarl won the nightcap on the last lap. So, yep, got to make that correction. Jamie Ball. Anyway, it's 2 nights of racing at Knoxville. They got that CRX series at Knoxville. They had a practice session of that, and they're going to run that tonight on CBS. That's going to be on CBS
SRX,
television.
right?
SRX.
Yeah.
SRX. And then the 410s will be in action tonight at Knoxville. We've got Kendra Jacobs. I sent you a message about that. Kendra Jacobs coming up in the 3rd segment, and she'll fill us in on everything that's going on.
She does a great job up there at Knoxville Raceway. She is the reason that place has been turned around. Her leadership with the counseling of Spire Sports and Entertainment and the people that work with her through that company, they've done a great job with Knoxville.
Yeah, and of course, get that truck race coming up on the 9th of July. We'll talk about that, see how ticket sales are going for that big weekend with the Corn Belt Nationals and on-wing sprint cars on Saturday night of that weekend. So a lot of big things going on at Knoxville.
And I'm excited about having a broadcast down at Central Missouri Speedway.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be great. And we're going to be able to carry the entire night of racing, unlike at I-35 last Saturday night where they only allowed us to do the sprint cars. We were told that tonight at Central Missouri Speedway we get to do the whole night of racing. So,
good.
That'll be good. So anyway, we'll see the other classes at CMS tonight. Looking forward to that. After Gunnar Martin won the modified feature last week down at CMS, Dennis Elliott's been a fast car down there as well. Gunnar Martin ran well last night at Lakeside. He finished second to Nick Bittinger, who picked up his second modified feature win of the season last night at Lakeside Speedway.
All right. Well, I haven't been out to Lakeside yet this year. I can't wait to get out there and check it out, see what's going on. I know all my friends go out there, so
I was there last night.
Get out there and check it out, huh?
I was out there last night for a little bit. Said hi to a few drivers, and
how'd it go?
It was a little dusty, but it was nice and cool out there compared to what it's been the last few weeks. It was very hot during hot laps, and then the breeze picked up, and the clouds kind of came in, killed that sun, and a little dusty. They could have probably put a little bit more water on the track, but I think it was. I think they had some pretty good.
Was it rough?
Little bit from what I saw. I only watched the first 2 main races. I watched all the heats and hot laps, and then I took off after the second race. I was on my motorcycle, so I was out there for just a little while, but. It looked good. I talked to Denny Melvin was out there. Talked to a few people I hadn't seen in a while. So Buzzcaster.
Good to see Tim Carrick running better. He had a good finish at CMS last week, and he finished in 3rd place last night.
And Nick Bittinger picked up another win out there. Talked to him too. So I think he won 2 weeks ago. So he's got a couple wins out there. Nice to see. They got the parking lot, Scott, all re-graveled with this nice new gravel. You can drive it. I drove my motorcycle, Scott, all the way to where you sign in at, and never even felt like I was driving over a bump. I drove all the way back there, parked in, signed, walked right in. I mean, it was the parking lot is perfect driving back there now. So
they fixed that up big time.
Kudos to those guys out there. That looks really nice.
Ethan Isaacs won the B-Mod feature last night as well. So congratulations to him and all the winners out at Lakeside Speedway. Got some speed weeks going on, Scott. Power Eye National Midget Speed Week is going on after Cannon McIntosh won at Charleston, Illinois on Thursday night. Last night it was Dazen Persley, the winner. And we've got the All-Stars Speed Week going on this week. Last night's event at Limaland got rained out, but Kyle Larson had a couple of wins earlier in the week. If not, it's, not running quite as well in the sprint cars as he is in the NASCAR Cup car, where he's not finished out of the top two for the last, 6 weeks now? Going on his 7th week in a row to finish in the top two in the Cup Series after that All-Star win last week. But nonetheless, he still picked up a couple of wins out in Ohio for the All-Stars this week. So that Danny Dietrich won the other race, but that Speed Week is going on.
John, how about Davenport picking up another late model win in Mongolia?
Yeah, that's the second straight preliminary feature win at the Clash at the Mag going on at Magnolia Motor Speedway. That finishes up tonight with a 100-lapper. Davenport seems to have that track at Columbus, Mississippi figured out. Also, we had a late model race down at Salina High Banks last night. The MNRA was down there, and Tony Jackson Jr. picked up the feature victory down there. I noticed only 14 cars at Salina High Banks last night. You know, whenever they go north up into Iowa, they're mixed up with, other series, and there seems to be more late models up there. They get really great car counts, but 14 cars for the first of two nights at Salina High Banks last night.
Something funny about that, I'm not sure.
Well, I think there's just a lot of choices for people down there. You got Magnolia, Mississippi. Some of the late model guys are going that far, which is not all that far away from Salina, Oklahoma last night. So, splitting up the late model count there just a little bit. But I was surprised to see that. I figured there'd be more race cars down at Salina this weekend for the MLRA.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not a very good number, but I'm sure it'll get better as time goes on. So I'm not worried about it. MLRA, they're pretty solid.
What are you thinking about? And we're going to get with Kendra about this a little bit later on. This SRX series, Tony Stewart has kind of put that together. They had their first race at Stafford Motor Speedway out in Connecticut last week. That Doug Kobe, modified champion, picked up the victory. What are your thoughts about this?
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I like the looks of the race cars.
Listen, it didn't do anything for me. It was like watching street stocks with wings on them. It was terrible.
That's the part I didn't like. I didn't like the wings on those cars.
Why would they do that when they know that the consensus was nobody liked the wings on the Cup cars when they tried it? Why would they even do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it.
That's my biggest hang up with it is the look of the race cars. Now, what are they? I guess we'll find out from Kendra here in just a little bit. But are they the same? What are they? The same cars? I guess they're running on the dirt at Knoxville.
They'll put on a much better race at Knoxville.
Oh,
they'll have a good race up there.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I got to believe it's going to be better. That pavement race just didn't do it for me.
Nah, I think that's the other part that I didn't like. You put them on dirt. We're dirt track guys. That's what we want to see. Right. But
we better take a break. Kirk, who's our first guest today?
Well, we recorded an interview the other day with Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
You want to do that first?
We can run that. You weren't a part of that because you were traveling out there, no. But we can run that and come back with Kendra Jacobs from Knoxville Raceway coming up in the third segment.
All right. So that when we come back, Kirk Elliott recorded an interview with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I was unable to be a part of that conversation because I was in travel, making my way out here to the Pacific Northwest. We'll come back with more of Kirk Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in a moment, right here on Track Talk.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Dustin Colquitt. Did you know that on average, Americans spend about 15 hours shopping for a car? That's almost 5 football games. If you have better things to do with your time and want to avoid stress, check out the concierge service at OneRequest.com. The OneRequest concierge team will find your car, negotiate the deal, review the paperwork, and arrange delivery. You got a trade-in? They'll handle that too. Experience car shopping made easy at OneRequest.com. Don't forget, that's OneRequest.com.
If you're thinking about making a career change, then listen to this. Sports Radio 810 has an opening on our sales team for someone who has a passion for selling. With the freedom to move around the city and unlimited control over your income, this is the perfect opportunity for a self-starter. Best candidates possess the energy and creativity to help area businesses grow and prosper. Media sales or sports industry sales experience is preferred. If you're interested in learning more, go to 810WHB.com and search for employment opportunities.
The honorary ESPYs are back on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Last summer, you set voting records across the entire country with over 60,000 votes cast for our finalists. Now it's your opportunity to once again nominate local Kansas Cityans and award them with honorary ESPYs. Don't wait. Nominations end this Sunday at midnight. Go to 810WHB.com to make your nominations now. The honorary ESPYs are presented by Crucial Staffing.
Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. After doing hundreds of water tests in the Kansas City area, I noticed a pattern. So I've developed water treatment packages that specifically target water issues we face here locally. All of my packages include 2 years of free service and maintenance. Contact me, Bob, at CulliganKansasCity.com/Bob. That's CulliganKansasCity.com/Bob. Let's talk about how to better your water. When you think of better water, think of Bob with Culligan Water.
As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
Track Talk. Scott Traylor will be joining us here in just a few minutes. Joining us now is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's the driver of the number 47 Kroger Chevrolet Camaro for JTG Doherty Racing. And get ready for Nashville Super Speedway coming up this weekend. This is a racetrack that's never hosted the Cup Series, but will for the first time. It's been closed for a number of years now. Ricky, have you ever raced at Nashville back in the old days?
Yeah, back in the old days I did. It was Nationwide Series back in the day when I ran. So it's been a while, but, we've got some good memories from the racetrack. And, it's always been a cool place to go for me. It's semi-close to my hometown, so a lot of friends and family come out. And it's always good when you can race in Nashville, that's for sure.
Concrete racetrack, how's that change up things?
Yeah, the concrete is tricky. Your car never really feels the best on the concrete racetrack, as far as you always kind of feel like you're on top of the track and kind of sliding around a little bit. And Nashville's a tricky track as far as kind of how big it is, how flat it is. Add the concrete on top of that. So it's a racetrack that we got 50 minutes of practice that we're gonna have to try and figure out. Get it dialed in really fast.
You haven't had a whole lot of practice time out on the racetrack. You've been in the top half of the field most of these races this year, but how much of a disadvantage is it for your team versus the big money teams like Hendrick and Gibbs and all those teams? Does that make things a lot worse? You're not able to get practice time at a lot of these racetracks?
Yeah, at some points I felt like it's helped us, but at other times I feel like it's hurt us a little bit. I think we started off the season pretty consistent and felt really good about where we were with our program. But when you're trying to continue to make your program better and continue to improve, when you don't get to go test them things out on the racetrack, it turns out to be pretty tough. So. We've showed up to a few races this year that I feel like we're trying to make our cars better, and it just didn't work out. And, so those are the times when we felt like we needed some practice. So we're excited to practice at Nashville this weekend.
Are you on simulators? What can you do away from the racetrack, not given the practice time to help you as a driver?
Well, I mean, there's, again, a lot of the big teams, they have simulator time, and we don't get that simulator time at at our place. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but we do some iRacing and mainly just show up to the racetrack and go for it.
Well, you had a great run at the dirt on that Bristol, second place finish there. How was that experience?
The Bristol dirt race was interesting. Definitely, pretty slow as far as speeds go and getting through the corners. But it was fun. I think obviously NASCAR learned a lot. The teams learned a lot of how to make the product better. Hopefully going back. So looking forward to getting back on the dirt as well.
You were at Roush Fenway Racing for a number of years, won 2 Cup races over there, a couple of Xfinity Series championships back-to-back. Now that you're over at JTG Doherty Racing, been over there for a couple of years now, Brian Patty as your crew chief, just what are some of the big things that you like about JTG Doherty and racing for those guys?
I love racing for this group of guys and gals. Everybody works really hard. We know what resources we have, and we just all try and focus in on what we can do to make our cars faster and be better as a team. It takes all of us working together, and that's led by Tad and Jody and Brad and Gordon, our owners, and all the way down, and Ernie Cope and just all the way down through our system. And so, it's a cool family atmosphere at the race shop, and everybody feels like we're one, and that's something that I've really enjoyed so far.
You've been with Brian Patty for a number of years. He's a veteran crew chief, had a lot of good experiences with him. Just kind of talk about him as a crew chief.
Yeah, Brian's been in this series a long time, won races at all different racetracks and all different levels as far as Cup, Xfinity, on down through. So, he's just a cool old racer from Florida that grew up working on modifieds and running dirt track stuff. So for me, I feel like it's the perfect fit. We both understand each other, and he pays a lot of attention to details on our race cars, and it's been fun working with him.
You've been out there racing on the dirt some. Just tell us about that. What's coming up for you racing on dirt?
Yeah, we got I don't know exactly what schedules I have coming up.
You'll find out when you get there, right?
Yeah, it's kind of week to week. Ran some midgets last week. Dad and I have our sprint car that we run, and we were going to try and run some ASCS races last weekend in Texas, but they kind of got canceled at the last minute. So, we just kind of go by feel and where we can get to in a good amount of time before I go race the Cup car on Sunday. So it's been fun racing with Dad and getting back in the 360 sprint car stuff, and looking forward to running some more sprint cars and running more 410 stuff eventually, and just get back to racing sprint cars, which I really enjoy.
Sheldon Haudenschild, fifth in points right now. He's got 3 Outlaws wins this year. Just talk about the Stenhouse Marshall team that is in the top 5 in the Outlaws right now.
Yeah, I feel really good about where our program is with Sheldon and our team. The NOS Energy Drink 17 team has just been really consistent as far as the speed goes in our race cars. We've had some really unfortunate luck this year with tires and getting flapped at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So all that being said, I feel really good about where we are, and I think we've closed the gap over the last few races here to the points leader, which is good. Even though we're still 5th in points, I still feel like we're in the mix and we're in the talk, and we've got 3 wins. Feel like that easily could be about 8 right now. So I just told the guys just keep focusing on doing your job and being fast each week like we are, and we'll continue to start knocking some more wins off.
Yeah, it looked like the first night at Knoxville not so good, but Saturday night he ran much better, didn't he?
Yeah, we ran 12th the first night, which I think is okay. Knoxville's tough. We got to figure out how to definitely qualify a little bit better at Knoxville. As soon as we can, put together a little bit better qualifying efforts, I think we get to racing better. So looking forward to hopefully being able to get a little bit better at that.
Good luck to you at Nashville this weekend. We'll be watching. Looking forward to it. You always look forward to a new racetrack.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joining us, and we'll be back with more here in just a couple of minutes here with the Racing Boys.
Reed Buick GMC knows that you don't have all day to buy your next vehicle. Hi, this is Trevin Reed. That's why Reed Buick GMC is perfecting the 90-minute car buying process. You complete most of the process from your home or office. When you arrive, you can inspect your vehicle, complete your paperwork, and receive a thorough tutorial on all your vehicle's features. No back and forths, no headaches. Go to reedbuickgmc.com or call 816-436-6300 to get started. Reed Buick GMC is values driven.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here for Window Nation. Window Nation wants you to invest in yourself while investing in your home. You deserve a break after this tough year, and so does your home from those old, inefficient windows. For a limited time, Window Nation has access to vacation vouchers, and they want to send you on a summer getaway when you purchase a whole house of windows. So while your customized, top-quality windows are being made, you could be relaxing in Palm Beach or Napa or the mountains, your choice. Plus, you can get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy with no money down, 0 interest, and deferred payments for 2 whole years. That's a ton of savings and a vacation to top it off. Don't wait, as this vacation offer is only valid to the first 100
fellas, what was the band
Call
that
866-90Nation.
Kirk said he
You'll
liked
get 2
last
free
week?
windows with any 2 you buy, plus no money down, no interest, and deferred payments for 2 years. And get that vacation you deserve. So
Rival
call today,
Sons. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
866-90Nation, or visit windownation.com and tell them Stephen St. John sent you. Window Nation, the perfect fit.
Attention men. Want to ensure your relationship with your significant other can handle the heat this summer? If you suffer from erectile dysfunction or you just want to perform better, call the Kansas City Men's Clinic today. Regardless of your age or medical condition, we can help. Call the Kansas City Men's Clinic today and schedule your confidential consultation at 816-608-8189. That's 816-608-8189, or go to thekansascitymensclinic.com.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. I'm in Emma, Washington for night number 1 of the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. And that will be tonight, night number 1 at Grays Harbor Raceway. Can't wait. Should be good. Good time this weekend. Looking forward to getting it in up here at Grays Harbor, seeing all of our old friends up here. It's been a lot of fun. And then next weekend, we'll truck it on up north, and we'll go to Skagit Speedway for Dirt Cup, one of the great 360 sprint car races in the country. Dirt Cup, Racing Boys, ASCS, Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. You can watch it all with our brand new app. All you have to do is go to racingboys.tv. Sign up today, folks, because Flow, you will not be able to watch tonight's broadcast on Flow. You will only be able to watch it on MAF Plus or racingboys.tv. So that's all you got. All right, let's bring our next guest. She's a great friend of the Racing Boys, and she has done a magnificent job with running Knoxville Raceway. She works for our good friends over at Spire Sports and Entertainment. Kendra Jacobs joins us now on the show. Kendra, how you doing? Hello, Kendra.
Hello.
Yeah, there you are. Kendra, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm gearing up for another big day of racing here at Knoxville with the SRX series. So it's going to be a long day ahead of us, but it's something very cool and very new. And I think all of us are excited to see these guys on our track, and many of them for the first time ever.
I think the racing up at Knoxville is going to be fantastic. Now, I wasn't overly impressed with SRX that last race, but I know what Knoxville produces. It's one of the greatest racetracks in the country, and you're going to have all these great drivers on there with these new cars. What's the anticipation for this race and expectations, maybe I should say?
Well, I think the cool thing is that there aren't any expectations. We don't know. I mean, it's so different from anything we've ever done at our track before. No one knows how these cars are going to handle. They're brand new to dirt. Some of these guys that are racing with SRX haven't ever raced dirt or haven't done it since they were like very small children. I think someone said Elio's last time on dirt was when he was 8 years old. So this is an equalizer really for everyone. And I think that's what's going to be the coolest thing tonight is that not only is it fun for the fans to watch this, but I think the drivers are going to have a lot of fun getting back to their grassroots really and trying to see what they can do on this track. I think, Tony Stewart obviously has a little bit of an advantage. He's raced at Knoxville before, and he's raced at Knoxville in sprint cars and in late models. And then you've got the ringers. You've got Brian Brown, who's a multi-time track champion, and you've got Scott Bloomquist coming in. So I think that there are some guys that have a lot of dirt experience, but however, they don't have a lot of experience in this type of cars, which really no one does after one race in. But there's so many unknowns, and I think that's what makes this event really cool.
I would have to agree with you, and I think Brian Brown would do just fine out there. He knows that track. He knows every inch of that racetrack. But there's going to be some adjustment period there of getting used to driving a stock car. He's not done that before, but Brownie's a good race car driver, and I think any of these guys could win this race because, listen, they're all talented in their own right. They've all had their own success. They've all had, they've been at the pinnacle of their career, a lot of these drivers have. I mean, some of these guys were the very best of the very best in their day.
Yeah, and I think they go into their inaugural event last weekend in Stafford, and everybody expects these, multi-time champion superstar drivers to be the ones to watch, and you see the local ringer beat them all. So, I mean, for me, if I'm the SRX series, that's exactly what I wanted to happen. Mm-hmm. So I think everyone's really excited about that. Anything can happen. And like you said, Brian Brown knows this track really better than possibly anyone in the country right now. And I think that he's going to show that tonight. So I think it'd be really cool to see our local guy win it. I think there'd be a lot of happy race fans. Maybe not so many happy SRX drivers, but I think in the end, we don't know who's going to win, and Brown has just as good a shot as anybody does.
All right, let's talk about some of the drivers that we're going to see up there. We already mentioned Elio, who just won the Indianapolis 500 for the fourth time, and Tony Stewart. But you got Paul Tracy, Bobby Labonte, Willie T. Ribbs, Bill Elliott. You've got Marco Andretti, Michael Waltrip, Greg Biffle, Scott Bloomquist. Who else we missing?
Well, Greg Biffle won't be here tonight. He's
not
a ringer for a few of them. But Haley Deegan is making her debut in SRX with us tonight. So she raced in the truck race last night in Nashville, flying in today. So she's a little behind the curve of these guys who all got some laps in last night. I'm trying to think who else that you didn't mention. We have 12 drivers. I think from listening to people around the pit area in Knoxville this week, it sounds like the most anticipated driver that everyone wants to meet is, of course, that four-time Indy 500 champion, Elio Castroneves. So he's going to be the possibly the most popular driver in the pit area tonight, and it'll be fun to watch the fans clamor over him. I mean, where else are you going to get a chance to meet him in Knoxville, Iowa? So it's really cool that he's coming here. I think when we all watched the Indy 500 this year, it was like, man, that's awesome, and he's going to be at Knoxville in a month. So Elio's going to be the one probably with the longest autograph line when all of this is said and done.
What's the format of this thing? How's this going to work?
Yes, so the drivers will run 2 12-minute heat races. SRX made some adjustments to their format following their first race. So 2 12-minute heat races. The first heat race is lined up by a completely random draw. Second heat race is lined up by a complete invert of the finish of the first heat race. Then they take the average finish of those 2 heat races combined and line up the feature. Now, the feature at Stafford was 100 laps, cautions counted. They made some changes. This is a live TV program. They've got to fit it in the allotted 2 hours. Plus, they think dirt might take a little more time for these guys to adjust to, so we might have a few more cautions tonight. So it'll be 50-lap feature tonight. Cautions don't count. So 2 12-minute heat races, 1 50-lap feature to see who really is the best of the best.
Yeah. Kendra, how important is it for Knoxville Raceway to try to do some maybe off-center things like SRX and doing some other things? Is it important for you to sometimes draw in other people that aren't necessarily sprint car people? Is that important to Knoxville Raceway?
Absolutely. I truly think that should be important to every racetrack.
Right.
You have your core audience, and those are the ones who know everything you're doing. They're the first ones to check your social media accounts in the morning. They already have their tickets. They're coming. But you've got to keep reaching more people and getting new fans into your track and get them to fall in love with what you're doing. So, SRX isn't our biggest race of the year. We all know the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey's is our biggest race of the year.
Absolutely.
But we need to get new people in who might not know about the Nationals or might have heard about it, and we want them to fall in love with our track and then come back for that. So, yes, it's always important to reach new fans. I think we're going to do that through SRX tonight. I think we're going to do it through the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race next month. And both of those races are on live TV. So even fans that aren't necessarily in the grandstands are going to be exposed to Knoxville Raceway and who we are. And that is extremely important.
Oh, by the way, we need to mention that 410s will be on the schedule tonight as well. So you got a really full night of racing. How about last night? Boy, great races last night. Carson McCurl winning on the last lap. Jamie Ball winning. You had 2 features in the 360s last night. Also, congratulations to Devin Klein and Eric Bridger in the Pro Series classes last night. You had a big night of racing last night, too, didn't you?
Yeah, we had double features last night for our Pace Performance Pro Sprints and our 360 classes, and then went right into this SRX practice. So the fans got a very unusual Friday night of racing for us here at Knoxville. They came out, they watched, like you said, those 2 360 features were amazing. I mean, Jamie Ball coming from 10th, that's always fun to watch. And then they got to see some SRX practice at the end and see these guys turn their first ever laps at Knoxville. So a very different Friday night for us, and now we roll into a very different Saturday night. You mentioned running 410s tonight. Brian Brown, I believe, is going to be one exhausted man after these races tonight. So it's going to be a great show. I hope all the fans come out and watch something, like you said, Scott, something very different for us, but give it a shot and see what Knoxville looks like with some different kind of cars on it.
Kendra Jacobs joins us here on Track Talk from Knoxville Raceway. Kendra, let me ask you this. Is there any restrictions now? Are you back to normalcy up there at Knoxville Raceway?
Well, my first thought was to say we are 100% normal, but that would not be accurate, knowing all of us and how we're feeling at this point in the season. But as far as COVID restrictions go, everything is back to 100% normal here. We obviously encourage fans who might not feel like they're ready for that yet, wear your mask. Do what you want to do to protect yourself. There's absolutely no judgment here. But there aren't any capacity restrictions. There's no mask restrictions. I remember being at a point where I didn't know when we were going to get back to this. And now that we are, it feels a little surreal, and I can't even express the amount of happiness we see in the fans' faces every day or every weekend. So I'm glad to have that back, glad to know that the Knoxville Nationals are going to be back in full force. It definitely makes planning easier from a marketing and PR perspective for sure, but it also makes it just a happier more fulfilling summer to know that all the fans who want to come can.
Right. Well, I think you nailed it right there. I think it's a matter of choice. If people want to wear the mask because they're not comfortable with the mask, nobody's going to make fun of you. Wear your mask to the racetrack, hang out, enjoy the races. Nobody's going to say anything to you for the most part, I would think. Most people wouldn't. And I think it's just a matter of choice if people want to wear a mask or not. So if you've been vaccinated, like I have been, I don't wear a mask anymore. And I feel comfortable when I'm out there in the general public because I have been vaccinated. So it's just a matter of choice for everybody.
Yep, and I think the good thing, like people who have not been to Knoxville before don't understand, is our front grandstands alone seat 13,000 people.
Right.
So for most of our events, you have plenty of room to continue to social distance. We take it very seriously, and we want everybody to feel very comfortable at our racetrack. So very well said on your part, Scott, and we look forward to welcoming anyone back. And if they have questions, they can always reach out to us on social media.
All right. Andrew, what else you got coming up this year that you want to plug here on Sports Radio 810 WHB?
3 weeks from now is a big weekend, right?
Yeah. I mean, really, one of the crazy things we have coming up is we have a weekend off. Next weekend, we're not racing at all. So that's very different for us. But
why is that, Kendra? Why is that?
Well, this is a big race at Houston next weekend.
Oh, okay.
So a very, very big World of Outlaws race.
Houston and Jackson next week, right?
That's right. Yes, thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Yes, huge World of Outlaws weekend next weekend. We respect our neighbors to the north, so we make sure we take that weekend off, especially from a points perspective, so all of our drivers can go up there and compete. And to be honest, at this point this year, with planning for this SRX race and planning for the NASCAR event, all of our employees are very excited to get a weekend off. And then we return in full force. I mean, the rest of the summer is going to fly by. We're doing a big 4th of July party on right before the races start on July 3rd with live music, food with charity donations to Folds of Honor, big junior fan club party, Dollar Busch Light cans. So we are kicking off the 4th of July in a big way on July 3rd. And then the very next weekend is possibly one of the most diverse weekends in all of motorsports this year, with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series practice on July 8th. Of course, the Corn Belt 150 NASCAR Camping World Truck Race on July 9th. And then we roll right into July 10th with the Brant Professional Agriculture Corn Belt Clash, which is the big 410 non-wing $20,000 to win race at Knoxville, and 410 winged cars. So if you are a race fan, that is a really cool weekend to see 3 completely different kinds of race cars.
How's ticket sales going for that truck race?
They are really good. So we are completely sold out of reserved seating on the front stretch. There is still a lot of reserved seating on the back stretch, so if you want to sit up high and see over those trailers, still come out, the view from the back stretch is just as good as the view from the front stretch. But yeah, ticket sales are doing really well. We didn't know until about a month and a half ago what our capacity would be. So we were watching the ticket sales go up, and we're like, man, we hope all those people can still come. And luckily they can. So get your tickets. There's still plenty left. Get your tickets, come out. It's going to be a really fun weekend. And make sure you stay for Saturday's non-wing and wing sprint car race.
Make a weekend of it.
Yes. I mean, we are a welcoming racing town. There's going to be plenty to do here. We're planning some fun events, and so are all the local businesses in our downtown area. So I think it's a little precursor to what we've got going on in August. So we're ready. We're excited. It's been fun to have a lot of big weekends in a year, and a little exhausting, but still fun. And I think the rest of 2021 is going to kind of be a blur for us. It's just going to go so fast, guys. And I hate to say that, but I feel like before we know it, the summer will be over.
Right. Hey, how would people find out the information of activities going around town and the things they could do prior to the race? Where would they find that information there, Kendra?
The best way is to follow us on social media. So we're at Knoxville Races on Twitter, Knoxville Raceway on Facebook and Instagram. And if you go to our website, we have a newsletter that goes out weekly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how much information there is. It's called The Dirt, It's right on our main page of the website. You can click the dirt on the left-hand side, sign up right there, and all of the information gets delivered right into your email. There will be a ton of updates about that NASCAR race coming in the next 3 weeks. So I strongly encourage race fans to get on there, sign up for that. For the Knoxville Nationals, we have a complete page on our website dedicated just to that event. Just last week, I updated a lot of the off-track happenings that are going on. You're going to see a lot of the entries for that race start picking up in the next month or so. So if you are coming to the Knoxville Nationals, if you're a fan of the Knoxville Nationals, I would bookmark our Knoxville Nationals page on our website and continue to check in for all of the exciting updates for, the best week of the year. I'd like to say I'm exaggerating about that, but I'm not. It is truly the greatest week of the year.
And, of course, we can't forget about that 360 Nationals coming up before the big Knoxville 410 Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this year what we've seen in our 360 class has been really impressive. Seeing Dylan Westbrook come in and beat them all last week was really impressive.
Yep.
I think he's going to have a big week in August. I mean, that race just gets bigger and bigger. I think we see more 410 guys. Right now they're scrambling to find 360 engines because they want to enter that event. So it's fun to watch that event grow. And it's fun, the All-Star Circuit of Champions race is the week before. So now we have fans coming out. You start to see the campers roll in about the end of July now. And you're like, God, these people are staying here with us for 2 to 3 weeks. It's incredible. And I think with everything missing last year, that feeling's just going to be heightened this year. So I'm anxious to see those campers roll in. I'm anxious to see the fans from all around the country roll into Knoxville and just hang out with us for a few weeks. And it really does all kick off with the 360 Knoxville Nationals. So that's a big event. It gets all of us going, and it just continues to build from there.
And the late models are coming back.
How can you not get excited after hearing everything that Kendra Jacobs just gave us there? That is a lot to take in throughout the year, folks. Make sure you follow them on social media. Keep up with everything that's going on, from the truck race to SRX to the weekly shows. They are the very best, very well-run facility up there. They do it as good as anybody. Kendra, thanks so much for being on the show with us. We so much appreciate it.
Well, I thank you guys. You guys are always very good to us. I appreciate you keeping Knoxville out there for all the fans and continuing to encourage them to give us a try if they haven't yet, and to keep coming back if they have.
I can't wait to get back to Knoxville. I didn't get there last year, so I'm coming back.
You can always count on us, Kendra. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Kendra.
All right.
There she is.
She's as good as they get in our business.
Yeah, she's doing a great. Man, they're loaded this year.
Job.
I mean, just about every weekend's a major event at Knoxville.
Yeah. So
you got the late models coming up. They're returning in September too. So
it's got about a minute and a half.
Minute and a half. Okay.
There we go.
Hey, Kirk, we want to remind everybody about our broadcast tonight.
We got 2 broadcasts tonight. We've got, first of all, the USAC Midwest Wingless Racing Association will be in action at Central Missouri Speedway tonight. We hope everybody makes the trip down to Warrensburg. It's only 45 minutes away. Great racetrack. Check out for yourself in person, but if you can't be there, we've got it live on Racing Boys. And a little bit later on in the evening, out in the Pacific Northwest, where Scott Traylor is, he'll be hosting the live broadcast from the Lucas Oil ASCS Night 1 of the Fred Brown Field Classic. I would say that probably goes on about, 9 o'clock Central Time? Somewhere in that
somewhere
time
around
frame.
there. It'll be a late night for the people back in the Midwest that want to watch it out here. We're 2 hours behind.
Weather looks great out there in the Pacific
Beautiful
Northwest
weather.
this weekend.
It should be about 79, 80 degrees here today.
Terrific. Yeah. So it's going to be great racing action for the next couple of weekends up there. Yep. And then tomorrow night. Tomorrow night should be back there for night 2.
Yep, night number 2 tomorrow night up at Grace Harbor. It should be a good one. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in to the show this morning. Sorry, I'm a little sleepy this morning. It's 6 a.m. out here in the Northwest.
Lee Spencer will join us in hour 2 talking NASCAR.
30.
Yep.
Nashville Super Speed. She's in Nashville.
Okay, well, we'll talk a lot about Nashville with Lee Spencer and more with hour number 2 coming up. And remember, that's exclusively on our Facebook page, Twitter, and YouTube. Kirk Elliott, myself, and it's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world.
The art of sports.
Thanks, my man.
Has come
Appreciate
to
it.
Leewood. The fast-growing sports card market gets an upscale remix in their gallery.
Taking care of
which
your car
features
is a
not only sports
responsibility.
cards,
It
hobby
ensures the
boxes,
long
framed
life of your
jerseys,
car
and
and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas fuel treatment. It works.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Sure, especially sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Alumatech Products is the premier aluminum cabinet company as well as custom aluminum trailer manufacturer. They specialize in custom cabinetry and production units. All the cabinets are built in-house by exceptional craftsmen. Alumatech Products also offer truck caps that are built from the ground up, starting with a framework all the way to a complete build. The folks at Alumatech are driven to produce quality, long-lasting products through innovative design to best suit you. For more information, go to alumatechproducts.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
We not only look to the future, we design it. Our excellence and professionalism in craftsmanship, quality, and safety is unmatched in the industry. We are proud suppliers to some of the most elite race teams in the world. We build it, you drive it. We are here to help you win.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know the funny thing about that is, the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to hour number 2 of Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Traylor. I'm in Elma, Washington for night number 1 of the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour race at Grays Harbor Raceway. We're all set up and ready to go. The team is in town. Scotty's here, Heather's here, Deidre's here, I'm here. Everybody who matters is here, and we're going to give you a great broadcast tonight at Grays Harbor Raceway. Hope that you can join us. Remember, no flow tonight, folks. So if you think you're going to watch tonight's action on Flow, that is not going to happen because of our agreement with our friends over at MAV TV Plus. So anytime MAV TV Plus is with us on the road, we will not air on Flow. So that will be the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial. That will be the season-ending race at Devil's Bowl. And this weekend and next weekend at Skagit Speedway. So there you have it. If you want to watch it, you're going to have to get it on Racing Boys.
And Knoxville 360 Nationals, that's on Dirt Vision, right? That event.
Say that again.
The Knoxville is Dirt Vision carries that event, right?
Well, yeah, but we'll still be doing the live audio.
Yeah, we're doing live audio that weekend. So as we did, by the way, we do live audio of all the National Tour races too. We still do the live audio, so we'll have that live audio free link up again tonight and tomorrow night. It's on the old site, racingboys.com. You don't even have to log in to listen to it. Just click it. Click the banner or the ASCS audio live link, and you'll be able to listen to the broadcast.
Not sure how much longer we'll be doing that.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. We're not sure. Probably do it throughout the end of the year, but
yeah, most
likely won't be doing that next year.
Right. Yes. So that. But anyway, we'll do it for a while longer.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've been doing it for 13 years. Might as well continue doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You sit back there in the studio and make all that happen, don't you?
Yes. So we'll have it going again tonight. We had some questions about that. I know Sean Holbert, who is the big guy out there in the Pacific Northwest, had some people ask him if we had it, and I said we will this weekend and next weekend. So
yeah, we got some loyal listeners that are on every week with us. They're listening from Minnesota while working on the Big 8 late model. So we want to say hi to all those guys up there working on that at 7K Racing up in Minnesota. Thanks for tuning in to the show. We appreciate you guys listening in every week. So it's always good to hear people. I see Tim's on there. Erwin's on there. So hi, guys. How you doing? All right, let's bring in our sister. She is the best at what she does in this industry. Lee Spencer joins us now. Lee, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
You're in near Nashville, right?
I am.
Where are you sitting? You look like you're in a booth at a restaurant.
I'm in the hotel lounge because Mr. Spencer's still asleep.
Oh, we don't want to wake him up yet.
Nope.
Oh, well, listen, Mrs. Stasa and Deidre are in this room with me, and they're just having to deal with it.
Are they sleeping?
They look like they are. I don't know if they are.
It's early out there in the Pacific. You were out there a couple of weeks ago, so you know about the West Coast deal out there, Lee.
I do, but I love it out there. It's absolutely stunning. It's like no place. I mean, it reminds me of New Zealand. It's just breathtaking, the coast especially.
Well, the people up here are so nice to us. We've been coming up here since 2009. I think we've missed 2 years since then. And the people are just so open-armed to us. They just welcome us in. They look forward to us showing up. They bring us treats, take us out and do excursions. It's really a good time up here in the Northwest.
They love it, don't they?
Tremendously. And yesterday when we were setting up, people were already starting to show up, look around, see what was going on, going out, looking at the racetrack. So that's a good indication what we're going to have here tonight at Grays Harbor Raceway. It should be a good crowd. I would say we probably have 38 to 40 cars. That's about an average of what we get here. Then when we move down to Skagit, we typically have somewhere around, 50, 60 cars down there. So it should be a good 2 weeks of racing.
Should be a blast and put on a good show, and it'll be cooler temperatures, and that'll be awesome. The engine always run better when it's cooler.
So one more driver cracks into the 300 mark. Donnie Schatz picks up his win last night. He finally gets it. He looked a little emotional, didn't he?
I think he looked a lot emotional. I think the whole family looked emotional. And, talking to Donnie, I know how desperately he wanted this for his father. He wanted his father to be there. And when his father, they asked his father, what do you think of your son? And he said he never did anything to embarrass me. And I think that, that kind of speaks volumes when you think about it. Because
oh my gosh, yeah, because we've all done something to embarrass our parents, right?
Absolutely. And that's what his dad said. And it's like, you can see the pride. You can see just how much he loves his boy. I mean, and it just... And I think Donnie has felt that, his entire life. And so to want to have his dad witness that moment, and his father's had health issues, and, it takes a lot of energy to go to the track on a, nightly basis. And just the fact that his parents were there, I think it just absolutely meant the world to him.
That was not easy for him to pull that off. First of all, he coming around to the checkered flag, and then the yellow flag comes out as he was coming to the checkers. Had to do it all over again on a green-white checkered flag finish there. But that was not easy for him to finish that off last night.
Yeah, when Macedo had that moment, right? And Macedo's been pretty strong this year, but
he's been real strong. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And so it's to see that come out just, when Donnie's probably just letting go that sigh of relief. Okay, we can stop talking about this, right? That I can't even imagine. If I was there, that would have been my question. What went through your mind when you saw the yellow? Because it's, you're that close. But water under the bridge, he pulled it off. What a remarkable effort and accomplishment.
And that track last night was pretty technical, wasn't it?
From what I could tell, there were a lot of ruts. I mean, you would see people get into a rut and it would slow them. And I'm trying to think of who was chasing him before. Oh my gosh, but somebody hit a rut and it just really they were catching Donnie and it just kind of slowed their progress, and he was able to get ahead. And I think that, that was just, it was a solid run. It was, nobody gave that to him. He had to fight for it. And it's almost more fitting that he did, the way he won that race and all the obstacles that he crossed to get to the finish line. I think it made it even sweeter.
Tonight's going to be an emotional night for the 41 team. It was just a few years ago. That's where we lost Jason Johnson. So going into that racetrack tonight, people being thinking about the 41 car.
Well, hopefully, you guys knew him, exceptionally well. So, it's got to tug at your heartstrings too.
Absolutely.
But it's, we kind of had a rash of incidents that occurred during that period of time. And I think when we see Jax, the relationship between Jax and Macedo is so cute. When Macedo got his last win and Jax just looked over the moon. And I think you guys told me that he's running dirt bikes now, or
he is.
And so that competitive spirit is there, but when that car goes to victory lane, my gosh, the look on Jax's face is just priceless. And for Macedo to really make it seem so genuine, to incorporate him in every moment of the post race, I think it's just beautiful.
That started back when Carson was in the car right after Jason was killed.
Well, it's nice that he's watched the progression and he's watched the maturation process, and they've got a cute relationship. I think it's really precious.
I think when we see Jax get up there, that's reputation. That's he's representing his dad when he does that. I think, don't you?
I think he feels that way. He's like the little man of the family, right?
Right.
And I think he's kind of accepted that role, and just the fact that he and Bobby have been able to continue on the way they have, it's just it's remarkable for that family to continue. It takes perseverance. I don't have to tell you, because you're out on the road all the time, and it's what they've accomplished in the absence of the man of the family is just it's really, really remarkable.
It really is. And Bobby is such a hard worker. If anybody knew anything, even when Jason was alive, that Bobby was, I'm not going to say she was a harder worker than Jason. Jason was a hard worker, strived at what he did.
Somebody's got to do the grunt work, right? There's always somebody behind the scenes that makes it roll.
Bobby was always the person that was getting her hands dirty, taking care of all the merch and all that business. And believe me, we've been in that business. It's not easy. It's not easy. So she's been a real hound dog, working really hard her whole life. She understands this business, and I'm glad she's able to keep that team going.
Boy, the Outlaws got a busy schedule. They got the night off tomorrow, then they go to 2 nights at Houston's, and then the Jackson Nationals next Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So they're going to be a busy tour here over the next
I'm kind of glad that I won't be at Pocono next week and don't have to worry about going to Pocono next week, and can just kind of absorb it all. That's what, that's what's so cool about during the week. There's so much to choose from. We have Thursday Night Thunder every day of the week, just about.
Yeah.
And I just love the entertainment. I mean, you look at and my Cardinals are playing for crap right now, so it gives me something to be entertained with. So that's cool.
Well, welcome to the club. The Royals are not doing good either. So,
what about Sweet? What about Sweet flipping last night?
I didn't see that, but what it looked like to me,
just got sideways, didn't he?
Well, he just kind of laid it over. It didn't even do any damage to the top wing, really.
Wasn't as bad a wreck as Wayne Johnson had last night, though.
Oh, my gosh, that took my breath away because, I was in the middle of the truck race last night, and it's really, it was kind of crazy. And sitting there and just, trying to keep my eye on that, and then flipping back between the sprint cars and, what was going on there, and then going back to World of Outlaws, waiting for their feature, and then trying to watch what was going on with Ryan Preece. And Priest put on a hell of a show. Priest is a guy, modified racer from the Northeast, a modified champion from the Northeast. And when he came down here, he said, you have to bet on yourself. And rather than run with a mid-pack team, he put all of his chips on the table, went with Joe Gibbs Racing, won a race, finished second in another race, and got a shot in Cup with JTG Doherty. He doesn't have any plans for next year, so he has got to go out there and promote himself. Best way to do that is to win races. And so Priest is a really feel-good story. The other person, and this is just, this is dirt related, Chad Johnston, who used to be Kyle Larson's crew chief over at Ganassi Racing. He's now over there, and he was the crew chief. So he got to go back to Victory Lane, too. And first time he's been to Victory Lane, since Larson left Ganassi. And so I thought that was really, that was really cool for him, too. So, but then, flipped it back and caught Donnie, caught Conkrum. I don't know if you guys saw the end of that. Did he say he lost 30 pounds this year?
I don't know. He looks a little bit different, but he needed all that the last 100 laps at Williams Grove Speedway last night. Shane Cockrum were talking about winning the Silver Crown race at Williams Grove.
Yeah, I watched that last night as well.
Did he say he lost 30 pounds, though? I mean, I thought I heard that in the post-race.
Soon as the races were over, we were flipping over to the next race. We were down at Henry's bowling alley down here, Elma Lanes, and we were flipping and flipping and flipping. Yeah. So had a really good time. I did not roll any bowling balls and try to knock down any pins. We'll probably do that before we get out of here. But Elma Lanes is a mainstay for the drivers. Everybody goes down there. We eat. Henry's a huge sprint car fan. He sponsors several sprint cars over the years. He's a professional bowler. He was the number one over 50 bowler in the country this year.
Wow.
Henry is very good at what he does, and he's got a nice little bowling alley down here, and we all hang out at it and watch the races.
Weren't you a good bowler?
Who, me?
Yeah, I thought you were a good bowler at one time. Were you not?
I bowled back in the day, and I had about a 180-something average.
Wow. We were really lucky growing up because I lived in Dick Weber land, right? Dick Weber grew up in the St. Louis area. And so my dad, when he worked at the ABC affiliate in St. Louis, they had a show called Bowling for Dollars. Well, they also had bowling alleys in the basement of the television station. So Friday and Saturdays, we could go down there and bowl for free as much as we wanted to. And so that was just an absolute blast.
Who was that guy you had a rivalry with? Earl Anthony? Somebody like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Rivalry. That was a real rivalry.
We love rivalries.
Yeah. No, but anyway, that Silver Crown race last night, Shane Cottle second, Chris Wyndham third. Brady Bacon had a good run last night in the Silver Crown car, I thought. Fourth place.
We were flipping back and forth. So what happened to Justin Grant? Because at one point he looked like he was pretty dominant, and then he disappeared.
I'm not sure. I wasn't watching at that time where he fell off the pace. But he had a good night in the sprint car the night before that. Matter of fact, he won 2 races in the Eastern Storm week. Robert Ballou won another race there, so it was kind of fun watching the non-wing sprint cars out in PA this week too.
Oh, it was a great show, and of course, Larson had to come out there and take their money 2 nights.
In the All Stars in Ohio, yeah.
You were talking about rivalries, and he's got a friendly rivalry going with Dale Blaney, right? Because he's shooting for Blaney's record for most wins during Pennsylvania Speed Weeks, and here he picked up 2 more, but he's got a long way to go if he wants to reach Dale. I think.
Yeah, what's going on? He's really pulling Dale Blaney's chain here. What's going on with that?
Well, he after he won that first race, he said to Dale, he goes, "I'm coming for you, Dale," or something along those lines. And I thought that was just so funny that I called Blaney up and to write about it because I just, I don't know, I'm just kind of, crazy that way, but I love hearing little stories, and I want to know what's going on like behind the scenes. And so after he won at Wayne County Speedway, he said, "I'm coming for you, Dale." And Dale Blaney had quite a run when, you know, he was an All-Stars champ, and he's got 32 wins, and now, you know, Larson's got 15, and so he's gaining on him, but, you know, he'll have a long way to go if he ever wants to tie Blaney's record of winning the 6 Ohio Sprint Weeks championships or titles.
What's going on with Nashville? You had that truck race last night. What kind of race we're going to see? Does the track look the same as it did 10 years ago when it was last open?
You know, I spent way too much time in the garage yesterday, and I say that because I'm supposed to be staying out of the sun. But it was good to see everybody. I will tell you, there are so many the former Cup guys that I've grown up with over the last 2 decades who are now in the truck garage that it really makes it interesting to watch. They've redone the media center. That was different. I'll go up to the press box this afternoon to watch the race. But infrastructure wise, traffic was hell. So, you know, maybe that's a good sign. That's either a great sign or it's, you know, proof that Highway Patrol hasn't figured out their traffic patterns yet. But it took us probably 45 minutes to get to where traffic was actually moving. So that, you know, like I said, they had a good crowd there last night, and I'll have a better idea what's going on the other side of the track today. But the inside looked relatively the same. The drivers, some drivers, I talked to William Byron, he really liked the resin that they used in the corners for grip. He preferred it to the PJ1. Some of the truck drivers kind of felt differently, but that was his assessment. Kyle Busch says, you know, the tire's so much harder than when they were here the last time that it felt different. He practiced in the Xfinity car. So, you know, I'm curious to see how things turn out, how qualifying goes, how practice goes with the Cup cars today. I expect Larson to come in here and be fast. He's fast everywhere. And,
yeah.
You know, as far as, you know, seeing the debut of Cup at Nashville, one thing I can say, this is a remarkable, just a remarkable market. The entertainment value here is tremendous, and the population, as much as it has just kind of gone overdrive at this point, it's you know, the population can certainly support it. I know SRX is coming here later this summer. IndyCar is coming here later this summer, and I think that this is it's an area that really loves racing, and I think they'll make the most of it.
Lee, I got to ask you about GMS Racing is going to compete in the Cup Series in 2022. They made that announcement, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday. You know, that they're so good in the Truck Series with all the teams that they have. What do you think we're going to see out of GMS when they go to the Cup level?
It really depends who they put behind the wheel. You know, one of the rumors I heard was it might be Noah Gragson. I know Noah's looking to make that move. You know, Colleague Racing has yet to name their second driver. They said Justin Haley is going to, you know, race one of their cars. And so I think, you know, the charter situation is really off the chain right now.
It really is.
I was going over that and had long conversations with Jeff Dickerson yesterday. I asked him if he'd come on the air today, and he said he was flying out to take care of the hockey teams, you know, during the time that the show runs. And so that was kind of out. But on the other side of that, I really, you know, think that, and I pretty much laid it out in the story I wrote yesterday about Colleague, you know, that they've got, you know, there's a balance as far as how the charter system goes, and GMS does not have a charter right now. Maury Gallagher, I can remember sitting in his transporter at Michigan probably 4 years ago, and this is when Casey Kane, we didn't know what Casey Kane was doing other than the fact that he was going to be out at Hendrick Motorsports, right? And you know, GMS at the time had talked about being a Hendrick Alliance, you know, being like one of their satellite teams, and Casey would go over there and help them get up to speed. So when you think about it from the standpoint of putting somebody in there, a Kurt Busch, maybe even a Kevin Harvick, if he just gets absolutely fed up with Stewart-Haas Racing and their ability to right the ship, quick enough to make him happy, because, let's face it, he's 42? He doesn't have a lot of prime years left. You look at a guy like him, you look at a guy like Kurt Busch, you look at these veterans that need a place to call home next year, and without putting somebody like that in a car. I know after talking to Chris Rice, who's president of Kaulig Racing yesterday, following the press conference, he wants a veteran. He wants somebody who, like H.A. Allmendinger on the Xfinity side, has really expedited the maturation process for young Justin Haley. And Haley started out on dirt. He's just started to play around a little bit with the late models like at Volusia and things like in Speed Weeks, but really hasn't spent a lot of time going back, probably not as much time as he'd like, right? But to have somebody to kind of keep him anchored and show him the ropes of Cup, because Cup is really, if you want to do Cup well, and I don't think Kaulig is a former college quarterback. He played for the Akron Zips. He was an All-American in high school. This is a guy who thrives on competition. And if you're not competitive, he's not the kind of guy who's going to take a check. If he doesn't think you're going to get the job done, he's going to boot your ass and go and get the next young hot thing and try to give them a shot in a race car. So I think that they would like to get, somebody who is more mature to run with Haley. And I think they have to have somebody who really has a resume. I don't see a Matt DiBenedetto or a Ryan Preece, maybe a Ricky Stenhouse. If something happens with JTG, maybe a Ricky Stenhouse who understands both dirt and NASCAR could be a really good fit for them. But Kurt Busch right now, with all the new teams, GMS and Kaulig, maybe Trackhouse getting a second team, and certainly 2311, we've talked about that. I asked Kyle Busch about it when we were in Sonoma, and he said what an asset Kurt Busch would be to the Toyota program. Kurt Busch right now, rather than stay at Ganassi and spin his wheels, I think he can pretty much name his price and take Monster wherever he wants. I was told that the reason that Ty Gibbs' Xfinity car is just black primer right now is the fact that Monster is going to be coming over to that, to the family, but they're going to come with Kurt and they're going to go to 2311. And so, that makes sense. I mean, I can draw parallels and kind of have a little belief in that, but I think any veteran driver who really has a background would just, kick butt at this point as far as when negotiations go on.
Right. There's so many weaves. This thing is webbed up so much. But I got to believe that if a driver wants to go over to GMS, they're really good at truck racing, right? I mean, they're really good, and they know what they're doing over there, and they've got good people over there. And I think that works to their advantage going into the Cup Series. And I think it's a lower risk if somebody was to take that, like a Kurt Busch or some of the drivers that you might have mentioned. They might be able to get over there and do something with that because, as you know, the owner of that team is serious about what he does. And if he's going to go Cup racing, well, then Gallagher is going to go all in when he does. Don't you think?
Not only is he serious, he's got the deep pockets to make it happen, right?
Right.
And if he, I haven't seen Maury he was kind enough to send me his biography, but I have not seen him at a racetrack in some time. He spent more time at the track when his son Spencer was racing, but I haven't, usually I just talk to Mike Beam, and Mike Beam's one of the celebrity crew chiefs. I know this is kind of like going in circles, right? But Mike Beam was one of the celebrity crew chiefs for Tony and Ray's new deal, the SRX program, which is why, in turn, Doug Coby, who won the inaugural event at Stafford, will be driving a truck for them. I wrote about that on Friday. He's going to be driving a truck for them at Bristol, so he will be making 42 years old, making his truck debut. So that's pretty cool for Kobe. But that being said, if Maury stays the course as to what he was doing and becomes an affiliate, and you keep an eye on this, and I've been preaching this for years, what Denny and Michael Jordan are doing with 23XI, 2311 Racing, with them being an affiliate, with them being a technical alliance, and we're talking about turnkey. We're not talking about, a situation where they're building that car from scratch, right? This is going to put more emphasis on the factory. And even Kyle Busch yesterday, Dustin Long asked Kyle whether or not he had any interest, because all these young owners are popping out of the woodwork right now. And we haven't even talked about Brad Keselowski today, right? But if Kyle had any interest, considering he's been so successful and he's leading the points right now in the Truck Series, expanding the Cup, and he said he doesn't have the money to do it. He doesn't, he'd like to do it, but without the finances, he's not going to endure the headaches. And he said with the money that Denny's getting right now, there's probably not enough money in the budget, and for now. And he's still 35 years old, so he's or 36. He turned 36 in May. But he's still young enough to kind of, Denny's more hitting the twilight of his career, where Kyle's still in his prime. So he still has time to work those bugs out. And, Coy Gibbs hasn't really expressed an interest in taking over the family business. We'll see how, what happens. But Joe's in his 80s. And so could something down the road happen for Kyle? I think so. But I think it's one of those wait and see, wait and be patient. Your day will come, kid. Kind of moments for him, but I think right now we're just kind of in a holding pattern. But Gallagher, if he does do a technical alliance and he does have Hendrick cars, and you can lure a driver like a Kevin Harvick, like a Kurt Busch, and say you're going to be driving Hendrick equipment. None of this. We have a partnership kind of deal with Ganassi or JTG Doherty. You will be driving Hendrick equipment over here. I think that could lure people that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface as far as free agency, or someone willing to get out of their contract to run successfully in the Cup Series.
All right, before we let you go, Lee, I got to ask you about SRX, that race they had last week. I don't know. It didn't really do much for me. I don't know about you.
I talked to a couple of people who have talked to Ray Evernham because Ray's a sharp guy, right? So after everything went down with their debut, he texted and probably talked on the phone to industry insiders, as Mike Bagley would call them. And he wanted to pick their brains. What do we need to do? What do we need to change? What didn't you like? What did you like? What can we make better? And the two things they came away with was make the heat shorter and make the numbers and the names of the drivers in these cars visible. Because, and another thing that was mentioned was when you're running the Chiron with the rundown of the drivers and the times, and positioning, make the color behind the number and the name of the driver on the Chiron match the color, of the car, so you can start, because I didn't know who was on the track. That was a huge thing for me. The numbers were not apparent, and so that kind of left me hanging. I think Alan Bestwick did a lovely job up in the booth. It was so great to have him back in there. I think he was very gracious with his time with Danica. I would have liked to seen Chris Dabota in the booth. I'm a huge Chris Dabota fan, and I really miss her. But other than that, I'll be tuning in again, because I'll tell you why. And I asked Brownie about this during their Zoom call this week, and I was, before I got wrapped up in this charter story that I put on racingboys.com yesterday, I want to write about the opportunity, and we could do a whole damn. Are you doing 5 Hour Energy back there, Cowboy?
It's early in the morning.
Cowboy.
Anyway, but I wanted the story that I want to take time to write this morning is just the fact that SRX, if you give them credit for anything, give them credit for promoting the local guy, giving the local guy an opportunity in equal equipment against superstars or former superstars, and Let him show what he's capable of doing on his home track. And it worked for Doug Coby. It gave him a national audience, which he hadn't had, despite the fact of winning all the titles he has in the Wheel and Modified Stories. He was on CBS. He was on Network last week. And when can you say that ever happened for a Wheel and Modified driver? So here's a local guy who at 42 got his shot. And Brian Brown said the same thing. He goes, I'm going to make the most out of this because I'm getting my shot. Scott Bloomquist. I mean, if you're a race fan, you probably have heard of Scott Bloomquist. You might not have seen him. You might not know what he's doing now, but you have heard the name Scott Bloomquist.
Right.
He's getting that opportunity.
Yeah, I just don't think Scott is at the level that he once was right now.
Oh, no. But you're going to get, hot. He's going to be on network TV tonight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for years, Bloomquist has gone and run the high dollar shows, kind of like Larson, did a little bit of last year. But he's, now Larson's just running what he wants to run. But, Bloomquist was that guy. He chased the money. And so, you got to see him at a lot of places. But did you get to see him on network TV? So, even though he's up there in age, you're going to get a chance to see him race. And so just, there are a lot of people who never got to see Willie T. Ribbs run a race car. They got to see it last week, right? So, I mean...
I think this is going to be a big night for Brian Brown. I think he's got a real shot at doing something.
I do too, and I'm really happy that he's getting the opportunity. I'm happy for Knoxville Raceway, that Knoxville Raceway is getting this kind of attention. There are... Think about it this way, too. They're also getting back at Nashville Speedway before NASCAR got back there. Whoever they talked to, whatever strings they pulled, they were able to pull that off where NASCAR wasn't. And so, that's another feather in their cap as far as I'm concerned. And so we'll probably have 3 screens going. And fortunately for us, they'll be able to put... put SRX on the big screen in the hotel room.
So, Lee, tell me a little bit about these cars. Where did they come from? Were they custom built from the ground up? Are they old late models and they built these bodies around them? What do you know about the chassis of these cars?
I'll be honest with you, I don't. I have not delved in that side because, I'm like you, the jury was out until I saw the first one.
I don't like the spoiler.
Yeah, I don't like that wing on the back.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I went to dinner. I was invited to Kyle Petty invited us to dinner Thursday night. He actually invited us to the Grand Ole Opry because he was premiering the Sizzle Reel for his new show that he's going to have on Circle All Access. Called Dinner Drive with Kyle Petty, and it's really if you like interviews and you like somebody who's a master at interviewing people and want to get behind the scenes and want to really learn something about iconic sports figures, this show is going to be for you. But he asks every person he interviews what is the car that pulls at your heartstrings? What is the car that gets you going? What is the most iconic car you own or have owned? And when I turned the tables on Kyle and I said, what is that car for you? And he said the 1970, Petty Blue 43 that his dad drove because it felt like a real race car. It looked like a real race car. When it was on the streets, it looked iconic. It was a stock car. And so, you think about the big wings on those cars and no, we'll never see that again. But there's something about a wing that for a lot of people who are our age, they can't get it out of their mind. And so, that might be something that Ray plays with. And, Ray's pretty masterful when it comes to, building cars and he oversaw the IROC series, and so that was really, where the genesis from this came from. And so if you, kind of rely on Ray, and if you do, you look what Ray's doing as far as getting feedback and listening to feedback and taking that to heart, Probably if he gets too many complaints about this spoiler, he'll probably do something with that as well.
Yeah, Ray was around Jay Signori enough that I figure he'll get it right at some point.
Lee, let me ask you.
There too last week. That was cool.
Let me ask you a question about Nashville Super Speedway, Lee. Do you think this is the last try for Nashville Super Speedway to make it? I mean, I know it's the first Cup race they've had there, right? They've never ran a Cup race there, but there's a lot at stake right now with Nashville Super Speedway, wouldn't you say?
I'm sorry, one more time.
I said, would you agree with me? There's a lot at stake with Nashville Super Speedway this time around.
I think you want to come out of the box and put on a show, and I think that's why they put the resin there. The truck race to me seemed like it was pretty much one groove, and I'm hoping it improves. And Kyle Busch has been very, very outspoken when it comes to the fact that he wants to, he'd like to see a softer tire. And I need to go back and listen. Greg Stucker, who's the program manager for Goodyear, was on Sirius. I need to listen to that interview. I did talk to Stu Grant, and Stu Grant told me the numbers that Goodyear has had to invest for the new car that's coming, the Gen 7 car, or next gen rather. And so I know what's at stake for them there, but I think Kyle Busch is right that you're going to have to come up with a car with a tire. This car is going to be dependent on the kind of tire that they put with it next year. And Nashville, this is a different tire than they raced here in the past, and it's a harder tire than they had in the past, and so there's resin on the track. But I believe that if we don't see really good racing here, it's an alternative, and it's going to start getting a reputation for a destination race rather than a good race. So, hey, come to Nashville, and also there's NASCAR this weekend. But, until I see what happens with Xfinity, until I see what happens with trucks, because I'm kind of worried. The truck race didn't get interesting until the final 10 laps last night. But then it did. There was passing. Priest was able to get his nose into Grant Enfinger and make the move and make the pass. But if you have three NASCAR races at a track on a weekend, and the truck race is not entertaining, it does not bode well for the other two events coming up.
Well, at least they get the Cup cars out on the track at 1 o'clock this afternoon for a practice session. So we'll see what happens there.
At least they're going to have practice. I mean, it's this is the only practice this year with the 750 package, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of a test session this turns into.
Does this work kind of into Kyle Busch's hands because they practiced this week? They had some practice time out on the racetrack, and it seems like anytime there's a good session of practice that Kyle Busch performs, he needs to perform better so far this year. Do you think with this practice and all the time on the racetrack that's going to make Kyle Busch a little bit better?
I do, because not only is he getting track time in the Cup car, he's getting track time in the Xfinity car, and he's running the Xfinity race today.
Right.
It's I think he needs that. He needs to have a car dialed in, where some of these guys, this is another reason why Larson is so good, is that, and he's explained this a couple of times now, and it's really brilliant. In a sprint car race or a midget race or a late model race, you don't have 100 laps to get your car dialed in. You have to get there and get dialed in and get to the front. And so that's the dilemma for him, is being able to Kyle Busch needs that time where Kyle Larson doesn't, and that's been the night and day difference. I think guys that run other disciplines, it has really helped them not having practice and not having testing. Kyle Larson rather, he just jumps in and goes, and he can figure it out really quick because that's what he's been trained to do, run these other races, and he's sharp from running these other races. And I think that has really been to his benefit. But yes, Kyle Busch, I think having the ability to practice, he hasn't had many practice sessions with his new crew chief, Ben Bayshore. So I think that will help him considerably. And hey, what do you know? We might get a Kyle and Kyle show tomorrow, and that would kick ass.
And they do qualify the Cup cars at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning ahead of the race. Same day as the race.
Early morning for me, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it should be a really good show. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of great stuff going on this weekend. A lot of different outside the box stuff. SRX. You've got what's going on with us out here in the Northwest. It's just going to be a great weekend of racing. I can't wait. What do you think? What do you think we are at? A little bit earlier, we were talking about the charter system, and it seems to me that Spire's in a pretty good spot. They've got 3 charters, right? They've got the one that's rented out, plus they've got the 7 and the 77. Are they in the catbird seat right now because they have all these charters?
Well, Jeff told me yesterday he would have liked to secured another charter before Kaulig made their announcement, but he understands the timing of Kaulig's announcement was due to, 2 things. Basically, they got to get the word out there that they're going cup racing because they have to secure sponsorship. Matt Kaulig is a smart and savvy businessman, and he's not going to take money out of his pocket to run this deal. It's got to be fully sponsored. Mm-hmm. So, they wanted to get the word out to secure sponsorship, but Jeff still wants to run 2 teams. He leased the other, one of his charters to Trackhouse Racing. That lease expires at the end of the 2021 season, so Justin Marks is going to have to find a sponsor, or find a charter rather. So Justin is in the market. Spire is in the market. 2311 is in the market. GMS is in the market. So there are 4 of those 4 teams right now that are seeking charters for next year. And so there are a couple people who are in the catbird seat. You have Rick Ware sitting there with 4 charters. JTG Jordy, they have been rumored to be perhaps in the charter market, but they only have 1 left. Ryan Preece has been racing without a charter all season long. And Petty's name, RPM, they keep coming up as somebody who potentially, they've got a charter and then they share a charter with Rick Ware Racing. So you really have to get behind the scenes as far as how that works. And, if Rick Ware can make a call and say, I want to buy out the Petty Ware charter and keep it as my own. So it's the charter story is going to be the charter, and where a couple of the champions who are in our sport right now end up for 2022 are going to be the 2 biggest series moving forward. I hope it doesn't overshadow the next gen car, but I would say if you're looking at storylines entering 2022, those are going to be your 3 big stories, or drivers where who picks up the drivers for these new teams, who can lure them, what's the best package they can come up with to get top drivers into right. The fold, who's going to get the charters, where are they going to come from, and preparing the next gen car for 2022.
And don't you think that the urgency for some of these teams, these new teams that want to get in, is because they know they've got the new car and this is an opportunity for them to not be left behind like so many teams are right now, because so many teams have been left behind, that a lot of the teams feel like this new car is the great equalizer?
Well, first of all, it's going to take a lot of money initially to do the crossover, right? Because everything is obsolete. And this was something I was telling you. I talked to Stu Grant, the head of Goodyear, when we were at the West Coast Stock Car Racing Hall of Fame at Sonoma weekend, and he was going over some of the numbers and what the expense is going to be, and it's there's a lot involved with that, and it's going to be an expensive proposition. And you think of some of the guys that stepped out this year and already made the transition, whether it was, Justin Marks or 2311 or Matt Tiff's new deal, just trying to figure out your systems behind the scenes before you incorporate the next gen car. And, I'm sure they had a lot of hand-me-down cars that they could use to start the process. But, this next gen car, to make everything that you have in your arsenal obsolete, is going to be a very expensive proposition. And I think that's why Dale Jr., even though he says, he could have interest in going cup racing next year, I think he'll wait and see how this all shakes out, and see how the charter land kind of, figures itself out.
Yeah. Lee, we appreciate you always taking all the time in hour number 2 of Track Talk with us. What do you got coming up on the website?
Well, like I said, I want to look at the SRX thing. I got in a discussion with my buddy Doug Rice at the Kyle Petty announcement, just talking about it. And he said, what if you go to each one of these tracks and the local guy stinks up the show? I said, I have no problem with that, because I'd be thrilled to see the guys who have busted their butt and put their blood, sweat, and tears into racing, year after year after the year, finally get the recognition they're due. And so if that's the one thing that this series accomplishes, then I'm good with it. And, I'm looking at it from Brownie's and Kobe's perspective. I think that's kind of where my feature's going to land today.
All right, Lee. Thanks again for everything. We appreciate you so much. You've been so good to us. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
Travel safe out there, brother.
All right. See
Thanks,
you later.
Lee.
There you have it, Lee Spencer, our NASCAR beat writer on RacingBoys.com. She is absolutely 100% the best at what she does. Nobody does it better than Lee Spencer, period. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she is the best.
She is the best. There's no question about that. I'll tell you who is one of the best, too, and that's Alan Miller, who is joining us. So you got a big night down at CMS tonight, Alan.
Yes, we do. Yeah,
the volumes are really loud. Okay, go ahead.
Welcome back the MWRA, the Midwest Wingless Sprints, and Raul and his group coming down tonight, so we're excited to have them. They had a good feature with us last year, and we're expecting some great things. I was reading through some of their information this week, and I see that they've had 5 different feature winners this year in that class. So that is a testament to the drivers in that group, and obviously a lot of good drivers with that particular group. So we're
5 winners in 5 races.
Well, and not only that, their car count has been stellar. I know that when we were up there at US 36, they had 26 cars up there, and a lot of people buying into Raul Ramirez's philosophy, his work ethic, the way he just really concentrates on the teams, the drivers, the series, the marketing side of things. I'm telling you, Raul is one of the better guys around when it comes to promoting. We're lucky to have him in our sport.
Yeah, it's real good. It's a testament to the wingless sprints in this particular area here in the Kansas City, the Kansas, Missouri area here. Those groups have done a great job, and we're glad to have them back here at CMS. We had them last year for a race, and really enjoyed their participation in our program down here at Central Missouri Speedway. So we're looking forward to a good night of racing, along with our NASCAR Weekly Series as well. So, of course, we'll have the A mods, our B mods, POWRi Super Stocks, and also the Pure Stocks again tonight. So we're anticipating a good night of racing down at Central Missouri Speedway. If you haven't been here, come down I-70 if you're in Kansas City and get off on the Higginsville exit. You head south 12 miles, or you can come out Highway 50 into Warrensburg and go directly north about 4 miles, and you'll see us right off of Highway 13.
You know, the thing I love about Central Missouri Speedway is when you sit in that front grandstand, you're so close to the racetrack, you can almost feel them coming out of the fourth turn. That's the one unique thing about CMS I've always liked.
It is, and it's a great feeling. And like you say, Kurt, to feel that horsepower, the noise, the sound, and I mean, you get the full effect. And you're right. I mean, you are right on top of the action, and seeing those cars coming out of turn 4 and coming right down that front stretch. It's one of the unique situations where you're right on top of the action, and that's a lot of fun to see that. And you're right. It's to feel 24 sprint cars or 24 modifieds coming around and taking the track, and a lot of improvements to the track this past season as well. As you know, with the new scoreboard, Gator Graphics, Dean Willie out of Warrensburg put the board up, and they've gotten things up and running. We run video off of that now, and you can see some of the live scoring on that as well. So a lot of improvements down at Central Missouri Speedway. They're trying to get Brew Pub 13 opened up. That's the old barn, actually, on the front stretch, and a lot of history behind that barn. They ran some of the early days of the horses and the mail carriers that used to stop off in there. So that was actually a little bit of history in that original building, and some of the bones of that original building are still a part of that as well.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
Wow.
There's a little bit of history behind that actual
awesome.
barn right there. So they're getting very close to get. We got to get some final clearances from Johnson County and try to get enough people hired so they can get that opened up. And it should be fun. Eventually, it is going to be a microbrewery. So Earl is going to make some of his own brew down there. And
all right.
That should be interesting.
Hey, Alan, what has the feedback been from the drivers about going NASCAR Weekly Racing Series down there at CMS? Have they clamored on to it? Do they enjoy it? What are you hearing from the drivers down there?
I've really, to be honest with you, I've heard kind of a mixed reaction to it so far. You do have a little bit of upfront costs with your NASCAR license, but
yeah,
I think we'll probably have to give it a season here to see how things go overall. I know several of the drivers up until about a week or two ago. In fact, Terry Schultz, who's running B-Mods this year, and he's done really well up at Lakeside this year also. Has won a couple of features down at CMS. He was ranked in Division II. He was, at one time, he was number one in the region in that Division II. So I think some of these guys, as you go through the season now and start to pick up on some of that, we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, you get the feedback from some guys about the NASCAR license, and I can understand that. But overall, they're going to save a little bit of money in pit passes by getting that full season license, and they do have temporary license as well, so they can just come in for if they're just coming in for one race or something like that as well.
Hey, Ethan Isaacs had a $3,000 payday at Lakeside last night. Tell us about that.
Yes, he did. They had 30 B-Mods show up for the big Joe Barry Clash of the B-Mods last night. In fact, there was 5 generations of the Joe Barry family there last night, and they helped give out that last trophy. So that was kind of a neat event there right at the end. Ethan Isaacs looked really, really strong last night. He took the lead early on and really kind of never looked back. He had a couple cars right on his tail there, but eventually he kind of established himself early on in the race. It was a good, solid race as well with Isaacs. Just thinking back to some of the cars that were moving up a little bit, J.C. Morton ended up in the top 5 as well. He started a little further back, and we had some travelers from some various locations around.
Yeah, Ryan Gilmore, Andy Bryant, your top 3.
Yeah, Andy Bryant. Yeah, Andy Bryant did well as well. He started back, I want to say around 8th place or so. So he moved up through the field a little bit there in the field. Anthony Roth, a driver from Columbus, Nebraska, racing a Razor chassis. He was up until it might have been the last restart. He was in second most of the time, and he was putting a little pressure on Ethan. But
he ended up 4th ahead of J.C. Morton.
Yeah, that was on that last restart. There was a little bumping around there on that last restart, and he ended up falling back. Gilmore got by him on that restart, so he ended up sliding back a few positions there. But overall, a very, very good race with the B-Mods last night. So a good field of cars and a nice show for all of them. Also want to send a shout-out to Spencer Rife. He had his first Pure Stock feature win up at Lakeside last night. He's also running an E-Mod this year. So, and then Nick Benninger had his second feature win in the modifieds this year as well.
Hey, good to see Tim Carrick running a lot better, isn't he?
Yeah, he was talking to Tim. They were trying to figure out. He was talking with Zach Vanderbeek, who builds those chassis, that Vanderbilt chassis, and they early in the season here were trying to tweak it a little bit, trying to figure some things on the setup. That was a new car that he bought at the end of last year, and it looks like he's starting to get things more figured out on that frame and on that chassis. So he seems to be coming on.
Cool. So tonight, Wednesday, 7:30 race start tonight.
Yeah, we'll have hot laps at 7, racing at 7:30. Our fan gates open at 5 o'clock, and we're just a few weeks away from our big special over the 4th of July as well. I want to mention that, of course, the 21st annual Tom Wilson Memorial. Can you believe that, Scott?
Man, 21 years. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so we'll have that big 2-night special starting on Saturday night, July the 3rd, and finishing out with a $5,000 to win on Sunday night, July the 5th. That weekend we'll also have some POWRi Super Stocks, B-Mods, and Pure Stocks as well. But, yeah, that's the big $5,000 to win, $1,000 to start event for the modifieds here. So we'll qualify the first 6 rows, or first top 12 cars on night 1 with a 500 to win event, and then finish them out on Sunday night with that big 5,000 50-lap A main event. So a lot of exciting racing coming to Central Missouri Speedway here in the next few weeks, and we're looking forward to it.
Great job.
Earl
We'll be
just
watching.
Keeps them coming.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night.
Thanks, Alan. We appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
All right, you guys take care. Have a good one.
All right. Stay cool.
All right, Alan. All right.
There he is.
It's cool up here, Kirk. It was about 48 degrees this morning when I woke up.
48 degrees? That's cold.
Mm-hmm. It was cold last night. You had to put on a sweatshirt last night.
What are the temperatures supposed to be during the races tonight?
Man, how about that?
Upper 70s, lower 80s.
Oh, that's great. That's
send
perfect.
Send us some of that.
I know it.
We'd love to have some of that.
Here.
Man.
Yeah, but I think what I'm going to do now is go back to bed for a couple
Is this supposed to be 100 again today,
It's
Tom?
it's 85 out right now, Kirk.
Wow.
I went out there. It's so hot out. We had 99. My car was reading 102. I left my car outside.
Hey, Todd, ask your phone what the current temperature is in Elma, Washington.
Adam's going to do it. He's got one of those smartphones. I don't have the good smartphone.
It's going to spit it out just instantaneously. The smartphone is smart.
Elma, Washington.
Elma, Washington.
He's almost got it. Here it comes. Uh-huh. 52 right now.
52.
High of 75.
That's a great day.
You're going to be awesome. You'd have to have a jacket if you were going to go motorcycle riding up there.
Well, let me tell you, tonight when the sun goes down, we'll be getting jackets.
I bet.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make sure you don't forget your jackets when you make the trip up to the Pacific Northwest.
But you've
got to carry twice as many clothes with you when you come up here.
Kind of like
you don't know if it's be cold or hot.
Is that like going to Florida in February?
That's what I was going to say.
Sure you got to take all your clothes when
Same
you go
thing.
to Florida.
Same thing.
Double up. Like when we were down there in Arizona, and down there in the mornings it's so cold, and by the afternoon we were out there in shorts out there filming races in New Mexico. But in the morning it was pretty nippy in the mornings. You put your jacket on and everything. But yeah,
Well, the whole crew went out last night. We went out and we watched racing down there at Henry's at the bowling alley, and we had everybody there. Scotty was there, me, Heather,
Jeff Christensen.
Deidre, Jeff Christensen was there as well. So we all had dinner, a couple drinks last night, just hung out and watched TV.
Cool.
It was a good night for our team to hang out with each other. So it was a good night last night.
how about that? That's good stuff.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks to everybody for tuning into the show. It's all been brought to you again by our good folks over at Lucas Oil Products. You know the deal. Made in America, sold to the world. If you need additives for your vehicle, there's only one company and one company only, and that is Lucas Oil Products. Go check them out at lucasoilproducts.com. You will find out everything you need to know about their additives for your steering, your transmission, for your fuel, and it will explain to you why you need to use these products weekly and regularly on your car or your vehicles. So make sure you check them out again, lucasoilproducts.com. Great sponsors, been with us now for over 10 years. We couldn't be happier. And we want to thank Forrest Lucas and everybody over there, Dave Wanzer, Bob Dillner, Scotty Mack, all the people that help us over there from time to time. We appreciate everything they do for us here on Racing Boys. And don't forget now, tonight, Grays Harbor will not be on Flow, folks. So if you're expecting to watch the race tonight on Flow, it will not be on Flow. It's only going to be on RacingBoys.tv and MavTV Plus. So if you have a membership on Racing Boys, come over and watch it with us tonight. If you don't have one, make a purchase. Try to go through our website to make that purchase if you could do that. All right? For Kirk Elliott, for Todd Spies, for Adam Bartlett,
I'm glad you mentioned that just quickly. We still having a purchase page show up on RacingBoys.com. That's not supposed to be there. I had a couple of people purchase on the old site. Make sure you go to the RacingBoys.tv to buy the subscription. So a little glitch in the old system that wasn't taken care of. But do not purchase on the old RacingBoys.com site. Only the RacingBoys.tv.
Okay. All right. Again, for Adam Bartlett, Todd Surprise, my partner Kirk Elliott, Blake, and our number one over at Sports Radio 810 WHB, and all my staff that's with me out here in the Pacific Northwest, I'm Scott Traylor saying thank you for joining us on the show. We'll see you next week right here on Lucas Oil Products Track Talk.